What's good? It's your boy Fanon. Well. This is a message to all you Eddie Hearn fans out there. They wanted to act like people didn't know what they were talking about with this Dazn deal. I'm thinking that Eddie Hearn might be in a little hot water with the owners of Dazn because they signed for the World Boxing Super Series to be aired on Dazn. And there's a little bit of interesting information that came out in the article about it that I thought was interesting enough to share. The first of which is obviously when you look at the picture of the people that stand here during the announcement of the Dazn deal with the World Boxing Super Series, who is standing there and who is not standing there. The person, two people from the left, is named Richard Schaefer. Richard Schaefer, and then the guy next to him is Sauerland, a promoter out of Germany. But Richard Schaefer being there tells you right now that Eddie Hearn has competition from the World Boxing Series Super Series for the money that's been made available for boxing on Dazn. And also that apparently Dazn listens to boxing forums and they do a considerable amount of data mining to figure out exactly what it is boxing fans are talking about and what they want. So in the midst of this data mining and discovering that the U.S. boxing fans felt left out of the World Boxing Super Series, and I think that's true for hardcore boxing fans like myself. I did. The World Boxing Super Series it's been a lot better than I thought it would be. I think it's a great event. The 168 and the cruiserweight title versions of it were awesome. I think that they have a bantamweight and 140-pound tournament coming up next year as well with another weight class that I'm not sure of. But really terrific boxing matches. Now, I'm not going to say that that's going to make me get Dazn because, I have avid UK Eddie Hearn fans have ruined that for me. I can't put my dollar towards supporting an organization in Matchroom Boxing that is actively involved in avoiding the best boxing match that can be made in boxing from happening. So I just can't do that. But let me go through some of the facts here. And I'm telling you, this is not good. I'm sure that the Eddie Hearn fans will try to put this in some type of, frame this in some type of way where this is good for Eddie Hearn and how Eddie Hearn planned this out. But I guarantee you that he didn't. The details. Dazn, the world's largest dedicated live sports streaming service, will exclusively bring U.S. boxing fans all 15 nights of the World Boxing Super Series #2. Featuring 21 matchups across 3 tournaments promoted by Comosa AG. That's COMOSA AG. Season 2 will begin September of 2018, featuring 3 divisions: bantamweight, super lightweight, and one to be determined. The 3-year deal will include shoulder programming such as features on boxers and select matchups that will be available on demand on Dazn, which would probably mean the championship bout. So they're going to have some type of pay-per-view function to that as well. Dazn will announce its official launch date and pricing this summer. James Rushton's Dazn CEO said, as a platform built for fans, Dazn has been mining boxing chats and forums to see how we can bring immediate value to the community. It became obvious that Americans felt left out of the terrific action and thrilling competition on display in the World Boxing Super Series. To that end, we're happy to announce that we'll stream every bout of all 3 tournaments. Keep an eye out for more information soon. This is just the beginning. Now, I know you guys don't like, and this is for you Eddie Hearn fans. I know you don't like when I parse words. And when I look at exactly what the guy said and extrapolate on it. But let's go back to what the guy immediately second from the left in this picture Richard Schaefer had to say about Eddie Hearn's deal with Dazn. He said that Dazn doesn't have any eyes, as if they don't have any subscribers, and Eddie Hearn doesn't have any boxers. He doesn't have anybody signed. So those were the two problems that Richard Schaefer saw with Dazn's attempt to try to break into the U.S. market. Now, who else is Richard Schaefer? Richard Schaefer is someone with a proven track record in promoting boxers in the United States. He is also somebody that has a proven track record with working with boxers in the PBC. Now, let's see what they said. Also, they will be looking to do things like bring on demand, a 3-year deal, which will include shoulder programming, such as features on boxers and select matchups that will be available on demand on DAZN. Let me see. What kind of boxers would U.S. fighters be willing to, boxing fans be willing to get on demand? Because on demand is essentially pay-per-view. It's not the subscription, but it's on demand. Now, you might need the subscription to get the on demand. I don't know the specifics of it, but Richard Schaefer has promoted PBC fighters and has a very good relationship with Showtime. He has a good relationship. He has a good relationship with the PBC. He just promoted a card with the Charlos on it. And he speaks very highly of, and he has a good reputation in the United States for being able to get deals done. The exact opposite of Eddie Hearn. And as he said, he solved half of the problems that Richard Schaefer himself said that DAZN had, which was, remember, the two problems was they did not have subscribers, and they do not have boxers. Richard Schaefer and this World Boxing Super Series has a good number of boxers, and they have 15 dates already set for 2018, which 2018-2019 series between the bantamweights and the super lightweights. Sounds like a good deal, but let's look even more into this one little phrase that I like here. DAZN has been mining boxing chats and forums to see how we can bring immediate value to the community. How can we get going right now? Because what else did Richard Schaefer say in his when he talked about criticize Eddie Hearn and the fact that he said Eddie Hearn doesn't have any boxing matches, any boxers to face to go on DAZN. He said that these people who are going to work for DAZN, and he said it was good. DAZN was a great organization, had a good team, but these guys are going to be looking for results quickly. They're going to want to know where their dollars are going to go to because they're publicly traded, I do assume. I think that's what he believed. That's what he said when he broke it down, that these are publicly traded organizations. They are looking for return on investment, and they're looking for immediate term on investment. So while Eddie Hearn is jumping around talking about he was going to announce all these big signings on by the end of June, and by the way, that's what the first thing he said. And it is now July 2nd. But then now he's going to make his big announcements on July 17th in New York. Do you think it's missing that these people that are planning to invest all this money in boxing in the United States have not noticed all of this waffling going around? When they're doing their data mining and all that stuff, where they're looking at how they can bring immediate value to people in the United States, do you think they miss the phrases Eddie Hearn liar, Eddie Hearn stalling out boxing, Eddie Hearn in a negative way? Boxers, do you think that they didn't hear Adrian Bronner saying that he wasn't going to sign with them, and that Earl Spence Jr. saying that he's not going to sign with Eddie Hearn, that he's not looking for Eddie Hearn, and Mikey Garcia turning them down, saying maybe later. Jermell and Jamal Charlo saying, maybe. Do you think they missed all of that stuff? I doubt they did. I'm not even spending any money on it, and I didn't miss it. I have to assume that these guys were smart enough to run an organization that's big enough to have that type of money to invest in the first place, or smart enough to see that Eddie Hearn and Matchroom Boxing is spinning their wheels in the United States. But it's interesting, when I made this, I did a video on this not too long ago. Eddie Hearn fans, this is interesting because you got fans of a promoter. The fans of this promoter said this is something that Eddie Hearn planned. This is something that he knew about and something that he wanted to happen. Really? With Richard Schaefer sitting there? I could have sworn that Eddie Hearn was talking smack about Richard Schaefer and asking Richard Schaefer, who do you have signed? I think that's what he said to Richard Schaefer. I think he was being kind of testy with Richard Schaefer. Like, yeah, who do you have signed? Let me know. You know who he's got signed now? He's got Dazn signed. And he's got Dazn signed for 15 boxing matches where the opponents are already known, plus a on-demand system set up for Dazn. Seems like Richard Schaefer made a nice little power move on Eddie Hearn, man. Now I'd be interested to know what this so people don't, in order to take advantage of Dazn's money, they don't have to sign with Matchroom, do they? If if there's a one-off that somebody wanted to work out with Dazn and get on a boxing match on Dazn, you know, for a on-demand feature, and they could work it out with their managers, do they have to sign with Eddie Hearn to do that? Doesn't seem like they do, because I don't think these fighters in this World Boxing Super Series are signed with them. I think I don't know, was Ryan Burnett signed with him? I'm not sure. I wouldn't doubt that Matchroom might have a fighter or two that wind up being in that series, but it's not underneath their budget. So, and also, what did Richard Schaefer say about the problem with having boxers fight on Dazn under Eddie Hearn's model? Because he said under Eddie Hearn's model there was no pay-per-view. Well, Richard Schaefer said, well, you know, why would a boxer like an Errol Spence or Mikey Garcia want to do that when they're right on the cusp of being a pay-per-view star? On demand. On demand might help that, because you might get about on demand for $15. And while it might not be as big as $100 million, a $100 pay-per-view, some of those guys might be willing to do that. So anyway, man, I find this very interesting. This is not a lot of smoke and mirrors in this situation with Dazn and Richard Schaefer and Sauerland. This is an established product that had already performed last year and did well. I watched pretty much all of them, streamed all of them. And, I'm leaning towards streaming these guys too, because I like Richard Schaefer. I definitely like the World Boxing Super Series. I do want to get a clear picture for him. But, like I said, I'm just still a little bit concerned that they're supporting Matchroom and supporting Eddie Hearn, who's come to the United States and made a complete jerk of himself, disrespected 90% of the boxing community, really can't give a straight answer, and really is the person, in my opinion, is the number one reason why the Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua bout didn't happen. And the more influence and the more success that Eddie Hearn gets, the less likely it is that major bouts are going to get made when a guy behaves like that. So anyway, it is what it is. That's my take on this Dazn Richard Schaefer signing with co-sign, and forgive me, the World Boxing Super Series and Sauerland. I think it's a good thing for the World Boxing Super Series. It's definitely going to be a good thing for like Josh Taylor. I believe Regis Porgray is in it. Relic is in it. There should be a lot of talent in it. My understanding is Zolani Tite's in it, Monster's in it down there at bantamweight. So it's a lot of good matches that can take place on this. So anyway, it is what it is, and with that, I'm out. Peace.